Hello, YouTube, and welcome to the In Your Head podcast. I am your host, as always, Jesse, and with me on the couch today is the host of the Andrew Fox Show, which I'll lead as top billing, member of High Note Humor, and co-host of the Crapulent, along with Ramon Bender, one of our previous guests from episode 10. Andrew Fox.
Hey, man.
How are you, sir?
How you doing?
Doing pretty good. And yourself?
All right. Thanks for having me.
I'm glad to have you on, sir.
Finally.
Well, we got to get the schedules to work out.
Yeah.
We see each other every Wednesday at High Note Humor, so it's good to finally have you here for an interview and have you had on the couch. So.
Thanks, man.
So before we get this all started, though, I got to ask you the same thing as I ask everybody. You got to bring me the statute of initiation here, which is something that you may have done in your past that was questionable, but you might not be so proud of. Maybe not. We're not talking wholly illegal, but marginally or something that you're not proud of.
Okay. So, this thing is something that my friend did, but I benefited from it.
Okay.
There's other stories I could have went with, but I think it's the funnest story.
We like those here. The people, the viewers like the fun ones. So
yeah. It was 10 years ago. I was a freshman in college. Me and my buddies got tickets to see the Wu-Tang Clan at the Trocadero. And he was working at a T-Mobile booth at the Cherry Hill Mall at the time.
Okay.
And he got to talking with this woman that was checking out phones, and he told her that we were going to see the Wu-Tang. And she said, "Oh, you're going to see the Wu-Tang? I know Method Man." My friend's like, "Oh, shit." She's like, "I'll let you meet Method Man if you give me that phone for free." So my friend stole a cell phone from his job and gave it to the lady. We went to the Troc. We saw the Wu-Tang. After the show, we met up with her. She took us to the hotel room. I met Raekwon, Ghostface, the Jizza as we're walking through the hotel. I went up to Jizza, who was like my favorite at the time, and I went in for like the high five handshake, and he gave me the fist. So I did the awkward white guy grab his fist thing, and we went up to Method Man's hotel room. We hung out there for like a half hour, and he was like showing off his Planet Earth Blu-rays. Blu-rays had just come out, so he thought it was pretty cool. He had all this weed on the table. And he's like, "Oh, I got a really bad sore throat. What should I do?" I was like, "Let's smoke some weed." He's like, "Nah." He wouldn't share his weed with us, but
something tells me that's not going to help your sore throat.
That was like pre-smartphone, and I just had a dinky old flip phone, and I like kick myself to this day that we didn't take a picture. There's nothing that recorded that makes it official, but that was one of the coolest nights ever.
Yeah, but that's a hell of a story. Yeah, saying that one.
And then he gave us free tickets to a show in Vermont because my one friend who was with us, she went to school up there.
Oh, nice.
And the lady who took us to meet him was supposed to drive us to Vermont to go to that show, and she stopped answering her phone, and finally she answered. She's like, "Oh, I can't take you. My brother was just shot and killed in Camden."
Jesus.
So we drove up by ourselves, and I got us lost, and we caught the last half hour of the show.
Well, you still got up there.
But that was fun.
That's a cool road trip. That's an interesting story. So it started off with at least your buddy with a little bit of theft. So
yeah, it all started with theft. It wouldn't have happened without the theft of the cell phone.
I mean, I'm not a big Wu-Tang guy, but I think if you told the story to the Wu-Tang about how you got to meet him and what your buddy did, I think it would probably fall into their category of, yeah, that's cool. That should have been part of when you were in his hotel room talking to him. That's what we had to do to meet you.
I think she knew. She was dressed like a Superwoman. She had a very bizarre dress on, but it was a cool night.
That doesn't sound like Wu-Tang concert attire.
No. Very weird.
See, I like that. See, a lot of the people that bring the stories, it's nice to see where the story goes, like what made you do what you did.
Yeah.
Like, I like to ask that question, like, why did you do the thing you did? Like, some people, it's like, there's simple stories, so there's really no, like, why. But, for this one, it's like, well, we had to do this to see Wu-Tang. When you're big in a band, it's like, well,
yeah,
fuck it, yeah,
steal a cell phone.
Yeah, exactly. So
yeah.
And like you said, this was even flip phone days. So this was an
yeah.
overpriced phone that this chick probably didn't have for more than 2 minutes anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So, oh man, that's a good one.
Fun times.
Good times to meet the Wu-Tang Clan.
Yeah.
But so as I said in the lead-in, you are the host of the Andrew Fox Show.
Yep.
Which is airing on. I was pretty sure what it was, but I don't want to mess it up. So
you can find it either at theandrewfoxshow.com or if you have Roku or Apple TV, you can get the HuMag multimedia app.
Okay.
And we're on there. We drop every Monday at 9:30.
There you go. Check it out, folks. I didn't want to get the I wanted to say Hulu instead of Roku. I'm like I don't know why I was trying to say that.
Confusing, yeah.
I don't have any of the anybody who watches this knows I don't have any of the subscription services. I don't have Netflix. I don't have any of that stuff. So so unfortunately I've been unable to catch it on those channels, but I did see a little bit of it on AndrewFoxShow.com.
Nice.
So, but no, I do like the show. I like it's good to see somebody else doing a good sit down, which is nice. You've had a lot of guys that I recognize, obviously from High Note and otherwise, that you've had on the show, which has been great. So, but what made you want to start this particular? What made you want to go to a talk show? I mean, I know you as a comedian from High Note.
Yeah.
I mean, you've been doing shows. You're like we were just talking before we went on. You're doing a show in April, which will be shortly after this probably airs, so probably close to the time. But what made you want to transition from that into like, oh, okay, I want to do a talk show?
I've always been a talk show junkie.
Based on the hat, I would.
Yeah.
I could take a guess.
Yep. But
for those who can't read the hat is Late Night with sorry, it's not mirrored.
There we go.
It's a Late Night with David Letterman hat, and I know you've always been a Letterman fan.
Yep.
So.
Letterman, Conan, Jon Stewart, old Colbert. Not so much now, but yeah.
Do you feel like it's a logical progression for some comedians
to do a talk show,
or to go TV or something like that? I mean, I guess I spoke to somebody. I'm trying to remember which interview it was, but I have a book called The Comedy Bible. You may have seen it. Yeah. So the book is okay. It gives you the basics of how to start writing and basic stuff like that, and that's maybe the first 2 or 3 chapters. Gives you it kind of pushes you. Says get out to mics, do this, and and it's great for that. But once you get into the next like 4th, 5th chapter or so, it starts saying, okay, now go write scripts.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, that's not where I want to go. Like I like the stand-up part. I mean, I don't get on stage. I enjoy the stand-up part, and if I was going to do it more often, I could see myself doing stand-up. But that I don't know if it's a logical progression for guys in that field or anywhere to just be like, okay, stand-up was fun, but now I'm gonna,
Yeah, I guess there's some people that are just like true stand-ups at heart, and that's all they ever want to do. And then there's other people that just know that that's like a means to an end to get to the other stuff. It's like Letterman, he stopped doing stand-up as soon as he got a talk show. That was the only reason he did it was to get on Johnny Carson and hopefully get his own show, and he did.
Worked well for him.
Yeah.
I mean, that's to the letter right there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I guess it's interesting to see how some comedians try it. Like some guys I've seen that just don't seem like they should be on a show. Like they shouldn't be up on a show for a half hour trying to do something like that.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of some of the old stuff back from like the early 2000s and 90s, but it felt like everybody had a show. Like everybody got a talk show. Everybody got something. It's like
it's kind of like that now. There's like 20 different late night shows. Now Netflix is dropping all these late night shows, and Michelle Wolf from The Daily Show and Joel McHale, they've all got late night shows on.
So everybody's got something going on, right?
Yeah,
so I guess I guess there's more money in it than doing stand up. I'm assuming, for these bigger comics.
It's just a something I enjoy doing.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I mean same as this. I mean this is something fun to it's enjoyable. It's great to have good guests on. And it's nice
I do it in a shed in my backyard. I mean, you were basically doing the same thing. It's do it yourself show in your house.
Yeah,
that's what we're doing.
And it's rewarding. I think it's rewarding to have something and make something.
It's like a trick to get your comedian friends to come over. It's fun.
I haven't had to trick anybody yet.
Yeah.
Fortunately, I haven't had to trick anybody. I mean,
I've taken it as an opportunity to like meet people who I think may be like one step ahead of me. They're like people I don't even know that well, so it's cool to like and then everyone's doing a podcast, so it's like people are tired of doing podcasts, so they're like, this is different and this is cool.
Yeah,
Even what you're doing is at least there's a video component and it's more intimate. We're just like we're sitting in a living room. We're not in like some studio or whatever.
Yeah, and I've heard that from some people who do it. It's like they're like, oh, you're comfy, you're on a couch, and it's usually you're sitting there and you're crammed in front of microphones or on a table, and it's I wanted something more relaxed because I think that brings the atmosphere of what of just talking as opposed to an interview, and that's why the episode that's airing tomorrow, as of this us recording, is the episode with Shane Costalis that we went for 2 hours.
Yeah,
we just talked, and it was just we were just having a good time, and a lot, and that's what I've really tried for, which I guess is a little different than a talk show.
Yeah.
I know you have probably a little bit more structure.
Yeah, we try to follow like a typical late night format.
Yeah,
which is fun. Some people aren't used to that. They don't get what I'm trying to do. But
yeah,
some people like I had Dave Premiano on, and I would like set him up for bits to do like bits as a story, like they do on late night shows.
Yeah,
and he would just completely shut me down. He's like, I know what you're doing, and I'm not having any part of this.
And to be fair, Dave, who is going to air
after
this, he was nice. On here, and he's going to air after this. And to be fair to Dave, I think we both know that's Dave.
Yeah,
that's Dave Premiano to a T, and I can perfectly see that happening. And I mean,
he was nice enough to come, and then once he got there, he's like, no. It was pretty funny.
Yeah, you definitely had Dave Premiano on, because I can totally believe that story 100%.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, Dave is a great guy, and to look back on our interview that we had, which was before the Super Bowl, yes, they won, so there you go. I think I interviewed him shortly after they got into the Super Bowl, and it was like we were like, oh, it was like we were sitting there going, oh, at some point we're either gonna be going, yeah, they won, or oh shit, they lost when his video airs, but
nice,
so,
they did it.
But yeah, they won, so we're all pretty damn happy about that. He was wearing his Eagles hat and shirt
nice.
And all that, so it was but yeah, it's interesting to see how different comics react to the interview process, and I think we were talking about that a little before we actually started on camera, saying how you see some comics, you go from show to show, and it's cookie cutter almost.
Yeah.
And it's a shame because some of these guys are so smart and they're so cool to talk to, and they have so much more to say, but the show feeds them that stuff. I don't know if you've ever seen Hot Ones.
Yeah.
And that's a little bit more of where I got the inspiration for this, was because it seems a little more freeform. It's just guys talking, and that's where it comes from. And, talk show format's great because you have a little bit more entertainment than I do, of course. It's just, two people on a couch, so, most of that camera won't move for the whole shot. But at the same token, you have a little bit more entertainment. And a talk show is interesting because you do have more aspect than just two people sitting on the couch.
I envy this show, though, just because, I like cutting and doing different angles and zooming in and all this stuff.
Well, to be fair, if I had the time or the drive or the production value, I would maybe do more, but this is much easier just to be, okay, I started, I ended, and it's going up.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much it for me.
I
so.
try to get an episode out a week, and it's just a whole lot of ignoring and yelling at my kids.
Well, with how many people live in your house, I can see why you do this in a shed. How many is it again?
There's 8 people.
Oh, wow. Yeah, see, that's a big number. So I can see why you do this in a shed.
Yeah.
Because it would definitely not work in the living room, which is
no,
where
I
this
couldn't
is.
do that. Not at all. I don't like having people in my actual house. We go straight to the backyard. People have to go to the bathroom. Like, you're going behind the shed.
If you got a deuce, here's a shovel. Go.
Unfortunately, if I have a female guest, I have to let them in the house, but I try to keep that to a minimum.
Make sure you tell people before they come on. Go to the bathroom before you get here.
Yeah, please.
We don't need you to meet the family. Or
exactly.
Anything. I mean, you do. So I guess as we go to the part about stand-up comedy, I mean, I know a lot of your act comes from probably half of where you work, half your family. Is a lot of it where it comes from. So I can see that it's a strong part of your life is dealing with that and not going postal yet.
There's a lot of sadness.
Yet it's interesting that you keep an interesting front about it when you do the material. No matter how much sadness it seems to be, no matter how miserable it would be, because I'm not going to lie, if I moved back in with my parents or whatever, had them move in with me, I think it would be maybe 2 weeks before I went on a rampage.
And it'd be one thing if it was my parents, but it's my wife's parents.
And that's
They're
even worse.
in-laws.
Yeah, so it's in-laws, and
it's not just the two of them. They have younger kids than
it's 8, yeah.
It's a 20-year-old and a 15-year-old.
So your two kids,
Yeah.
you and your wife, wow, and then 4 more.
And her family.
So I have to ask then, since I never actually got the backstory, how did they end up moving in with you guys? I mean, if you don't want to share, it's cool. I understand.
I guess I shouldn't. That's their business.
Okay, no, that's fair. I didn't know what was going on or anything like that, or how it, like, if it was a weird situation or. It's all
I doubt she'll watch this, but if my wife were to watch this,
no,
I'd
it's
be
fine.
in trouble.
No, I understand. It's fine. No, it just seemed like I didn't know if there was a weird story behind it. Or
nah,
if it was
nothing funny.
No,
nothing podcast worthy, I guess.
That's fair. It's okay. I know with certain things like that, I try not to talk about.
Yeah.
I don't push. I don't want to push for things like that because I don't want to make anybody uncomfortable. But how long have you actually been doing stand
up? It's weird because I'm coming on my 6-year anniversary, but I really started hitting it with a lot more like frequency in the past 14 months.
Okay, like more than one mic?
Yeah. Like even doing a mic a week, it was more than I was doing the first 5 years of stand-up. But, becoming part of the High Note crew, being there every Wednesday, trying to go to Cody's mic every Thursday at the W, and just getting booked more often. It's been the past, 14 months.
Yeah.
So I've seen a growth during that time that I wasn't having the 5 years prior since I started.
So you think the stage time definitely helps regardless?
Definitely helps with confidence. Yeah. I think I've always been a good writer, but performing and just being comfortable on stage, I had a real growth spurt in the past year. Yeah.
And that's something I love to see from different comics, because I've been coming to High Note for probably over a year now at least. And to see the growth in certain people and to see how it's actually a really neat process. Because I'm not, I don't know. I mean, I know a lot of the guys that are there aren't jealous of somebody's success or how good somebody is. Well, it's nice, it's a very supportive crew. A lot of the guys there, they're very helpful. They're real supportive. I mean, and they're not even trying to peer pressure me to get back on stage. They're like, you should go. You should get back up on stage. And it's a supportive environment. It's a lot of good guys.
Yeah.
And they're all. It's great watching them grow, watching them get better at jokes and, hone jokes down and make a nice set. And then, you see them do a tight 5 at, maybe Philly's Funniest. Watching Philly's Funniest and seeing somebody put together that tight 5, that's like, wow, you see where they came from in the last little while, because that was mostly newer comics that have been there. So nobody that's been I know Isley didn't. Brian Isley didn't go up there because he'd been in it for 4 years. He probably
he just had his 4 year.
Yeah, he just had his 4 year just a few days ago. This so, and he knows to the day. Did you know? Do you still know to the day your first?
I think Facebook would have to tell me. I know it was sometime in April.
That's not bad. I mean,
I went the taking a class route, which I think some people turn their nose to, but I think it was helpful. I needed it to get me on stage the first time. I don't think I could just show up at an open mic without doing that first.
It's nice to have a little something underneath you. I mean, I see why people shun the idea of the classes, because it makes you kind of cookie cutter and it makes that person. But that's why when I read the book, it was just the first few chapters were how to develop writing, and it was that, which was nice, which I'd assume you would. The same kind of thing you would get from a class. Yeah,
when I first took that class and my dad saw my teacher perform, he's like, oh, I could see that he's your teacher. He could see his influence in me.
Okay.
I think I've lost it since.
Which is, I mean, it's good because you don't want to be that. You want your own style.
Exactly. But they also say, you should emulate, some guy told me once, emulate your second favorite comic and kind of take their voice until you find your own, just to, get that persona and confidence on stage.
Why second favorite?
I don't know why second.
Never explained why.
No.
It just seems like something that's important.
I guess I don't know if the fear is like if you emulate your first favorite that it'll be harder to lose it. I don't know.
Or you might not ever catch up to being as good as your favorite
Maybe
comic.
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to overtake your favorite comic.
But a lot of people have. I think a lot of people have pinpointed my influence. People call me out on it all the time.
Which I'm gonna say probably, if I guess, is Norm Macdonald.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
We can pick that up in your act a little bit. It's
yeah. Trying to lose it, but it's fun.
No, but you know what? You can see it, but it's not like a straight. Like,
I don't tell jokes that he would tell.
Right. It's a totally different style, but you
Yeah.
can just see it that like you can do it.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you see certain comics and like we see them all the time at High Note. You know,
Mhm.
and you can see a guy and you could do that comic.
Yeah.
Like I was just on his podcast, Chris Stenta.
Yeah.
And you do, hey, yeah, tell some jokes.
Uh-huh.
You love him, but you love that if you somebody went up there and started doing that, you'd be like, all right, that's him. But
yeah.
you can just kind of see your mannerisms a little bit. Or
Exactly.
yeah, you've definitely got that.
Mm-hmm.
But at least you picked a good comic. Who would be your first favorite then? If you said he's your second, who you tried to emulate, then who's the first?
I would put him and Chappelle are my two favorites.
Okay.
Yeah.
I noticed a lot of people are kind of. It's kind of a not to sound racist, but it's kind of a black or white issue with Chappelle. It's either you love Chappelle or you just. Or
Well, we
you
had
don't.
that conversation at High Note last week. Yeah.
Yeah, at the Great Value Comedy Cellar that we had going on there. Yeah. Yeah, and I guess it's that way with a lot of comics. You can like a. I mean, I was never a Chappelle fan.
No.
I couldn't get him. I guess maybe back when I watched him before, I just didn't get it. And again, that's me. I watch guys like Christopher Titus, Kyle Kinane.
Yeah.
So you can see I like the storyteller. I don't want just someone who's going to come on screen and yell at you.
Yeah.
So I that kind of shows. I mean, I love Chris Rock though because he tells a cool story about what happens, and I like that about him. So that was always. I just always had trouble with Chappelle. I mean, the whole Rick James thing was hilarious, but you know, he's I mean, Chappelle's he is good. I guess I gotta try to get back. I know everybody says that his most recent special,
Killing Them Softly.
No,
this was from I think 2000. It's an HBO special. I think it's one of the greatest specials of all time.
Okay. I mean, maybe I should watch some of his specials. Yeah. I mean, maybe I should go back. I'll have to probably by the time this airs, I'll have to watch the special. Okay. And I'll put something in the comics because I could probably see pieces of it online. I guess it was like maybe the Chappelle Show kind of turned me off.
Really? Okay.
Because I just
that was my introduction. Well, actually, I think I watched Killing Them Softly first, and that's why I wanted to watch Chappelle Show. But yeah, it's a very good special.
Like he was good in movies. Like he was great in Half Baked.
Yeah.
I thought Half Baked was hilarious. I mean, I like Brewer too. Brewer's always been one of my favorites.
Yeah, he was great.
But you know, something. I mean, he was great in that, but just the Chappelle Show was just like, nah. It just never really grabbed me. So
yeah, too.
But you've also got the Crapulent, which now I've had you both on here. Now I've had both you and Ramon. Crapulent. It seems like you guys are back making episodes again.
Yeah, we between the holidays and that polar vortex shit in the beginning of January. There was some problems at the studio, so we almost took a whole month off. It was like our longest hiatus ever, but we're hitting it again. Trying to go strong. We had like a really good thing going for a while where we had a deal with Punchline where we were interviewing their headliners.
Wow.
We had Roy Wood Jr. from The Daily Show on, Rory Scovel.
Nice.
Yeah, we had a lot of cool people. And then I was booking people beyond Punchline. We had Fred Stoller, Martha Kelly from the show Baskets, a lot of cool people. Ron Funches.
Oh, Ron Funches is hilarious.
Yeah.
I've heard some of his act.
Yeah.
Back when I had XM in my car and had the comedy station, and I've heard him a few times. And he was on the radio, but some of his bits are just
yeah.
he's killer. he seems like such, like they say, he's a really big dude,
Mm-hmm.
but he's this really quiet, soft-spoken
Yeah.
kind of dude, and it's really interesting
Mm-hmm.
to see that about him. I like.
He was a phoner, but all those punchline people were in studio, so it was pretty cool to meet some of those guys.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, so but he called. Okay.
Mhm.
It's still cool to get to talk to him.
Yeah.
Especially guys that are.
We had a guy who wrote this biography about Letterman that just came out. He was the New York Times comedy critic.
Nice.
So that was cool to talk to that guy. And yeah, it's been a fun ride so far.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I'll definitely put a link to the Crapulent below down here in the video. I'm definitely gonna have links to the Andrew Fox Show.
Cool.
So I'll put a link to AndrewFoxShow.com so we can get people over there.
Yeah.
And High Note, I'm gonna keep plugging it because I got all the guys that run it. I think we've had almost everybody on
Did you
except
have
for
everybody?
Troy. No, Troy, but
Noah's been on?
oh no, not Noah. Well, I have Will. That's probably why I'm
Okay.
thinking it because I had half a plus two. So I'm Noah. When I get you, I'm getting you on here sooner or later when we find the time.
Yeah.
I guess I'm gonna have to bring this to High Note to do it to get him on. I'm starting to think about it. But yeah, we've had most of the High Note guys, and
Yep.
it's I love High Note. I love being around you guys. I know I'm not a comedian, but I love being around you guys because it's a great environment.
Mhm.
And it's always been a cool, welcoming place for new comedians, for
Oh yeah, definitely.
older comedians, and I've seen a couple mics in Philly. Like I wandered with people, and we're like, "Oh, let's go over to this." So we went over to an open mic in Philly, and it doesn't seem as welcoming as
yeah.
High Note really is. It's
Mhm.
just like, hey, here's the list, all 4 pages of it.
Yeah.
You know, if you get up before 2, great, and you know you're on this little list to do. And it's just nobody. You're just a face in the crowd.
Yeah.
And you know we know most everybody when they walk in there. If not, we'll know who they are in a couple weeks. And
Mhm.
I love that about it because it just feels more comfortable. And
Yeah,
I think that helps with
definitely.
the development too, because people can go up there and not be like,
Yeah.
you know, it lets me almost think like I might want to go up again. I might want to start getting back.
How
on
often
stage.
did you do it?
Once.
Oh, you did it once.
One time.
How long ago?
A while. Quite a while.
All right.
I'd have to look at my Facebook to see the same thing, but
Where at? Do you remember?
at High Note.
Oh, at High Note.
At High Note, yeah. I went up at High Note. I remember most of it. The way the night was, Lemaire was hosting.
Okay.
So it's been a while because I know Lemaire hasn't been part of High Note in a bit, but Lemaire was hosting, and because everybody kept telling me you really should go up, Noah was kind of like, you got to get up and go. I'm like, okay. So I got the book. I started kind of getting the idea, and I was like, okay. So I wrote some stuff down, and I did. I definitely did, like you said, was to use like one of your favorite comics. Most of my stuff was stories,
Yeah.
more than like a joke, like a haha, here's a joke I wrote. It was more stories about funny crap that had happened.
Yeah.
Working for the TSA, because I
Mhm.
worked for the TSA back in 2002.
Okay.
But one of my favorite jobs ever, I worked with Shane Costales' dad.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, which was a
You
great,
discovered
weird
that.
story.
Yeah.
We talked about that on that episode. And I mean, but the stories of having fun stuff like that was where I seem to draw. But I don't have a lot of that stuff lately. I haven't been able to pull anything, any kind of inspiration, and it's hard to write. And that's why I've kind of been. That's why I've gotten away from getting up on stage.
Mhm.
So, I mean, I don't know how a lot of these guys do it.
Yeah.
I mean, you come up with new material. A lot of the guys they all come up with pretty much new material every week, and I'm like, I don't know how they do it.
I don't know how Ramon writes songs.
That's hard.
Yeah.
That's really hard.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I mean, and he's not even doing like a Weird Al.
No.
I could see it easier as a Weird Al, like doing a cover of a song and being like, okay, let's see what kind of words we can put in. But to come up with an original song, that's hard.
Yeah, man.
I guess if you're a poet, maybe it'd be easier. If you're a poet at some point in time, you could write it. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, hats off to you, Ramon, for being able to write songs, because I sure as hell can't. I can't even play guitar anymore. So, but yeah, folks, again, I'm going to make sure I tell you that. Get out to High Note. Come see us. Come see Andrew.
Please.
He hosts, so he's up there on stage.
Yeah.
So he's always having a good time. We bring out a lot of good people every week, and there's all kinds of good comics. You get to see some of the great up-and-coming guys like Troy Moore that we mentioned,
Mm-hmm.
who I'm trying to get desperately on this podcast. I know you're probably never going to watch it, but I want your ass on the show. Brian Isley.
Isley's great.
What's that?
Isley's great.
Oh, Isley's fantastic. Just recorded his album. Hopefully it'll be dropping sometime around when this airs. I hope. I think he said sometime in March.
Oh, really? Okay, cool.
So I'm hoping his episode will be airing. So there's a lot of great guys that are doing a lot of work and really grinding it there. That are doing stuff. So, I mean, I want to see them all do well. So hoping they do. And you as well. I mean, especially your show. I want to see the Fox show take off.
Yeah.
Or at least
a lot of work.
And you're doing all the editing and stuff yourself?
Yeah. I have, I got 15 that are like ready to go. So the next 15 weeks are pretty much set.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
And so you're going to still record and just keep going, or do you want to do season blocks?
I'm going to try to go as long as we can.
Just keep doing it like a podcast, a weekly thing, kind of.
Yep.
So that sort of thinking. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know if you were going to do like a season and then wrap up that season and give yourself a little bit of time to do the.
We'll see if we get tired, but it's fun. It's like going to a mic. It's still a comedy, so
right.
Yeah. We'll have like a real guest, and then we'll also have a character guest. So there's like comedy elements. Like last week's episode, we just had Jesse Dram on, and I subconsciously stole a joke from him on Facebook. So he called me out on it, and I said, "Come on the show, and we'll talk about it." So he came in a suit and a neck brace. He said he was going to sue me. And it ended up being a really funny bit. So it's cool doing stuff like that. So it's not always just straight interviews. We have the first episode, which everyone says was their favorite part of the episode. I did a sketch with Josh Carter where he's the comedy devil, and I sell my soul to him to get my own talk show. We filmed that at High Note.
The funny part of that is I could see that happening, I think.
Yeah.
I could see Josh as I love you, Josh. I do, but I could definitely see Josh as the comedy devil. So that's a good casting choice on your part.
And he came back on my show doing his character from the Wine Boys. I don't know if he talked about it here.
No.
He does a thing on YouTube called the Wine Boys. So they came and we did a wine testing.
Is that new or?
That's not out yet, but it's coming.
Oh, okay. So
should be out around the time this episode drops.
Okay, yeah, because I haven't had Josh on. Josh was like episode 3 or 4.
Yeah.
So that was 10, 12 weeks ago, I think.
Yeah, he had been doing that character for a while.
Okay.
So it wasn't like new to my show, but his character came on my show, so it was fun.
That's awesome. So, yeah, there you go. Plug for you too, Josh. Everybody gets a little bit out here today. So
support South Jersey.
Yeah, I mean, South Jersey's been a great place for comedy, which I know we've had the guys from. I mean, here's an interesting question then. I mean, I'm wondering what you might think would happen. The Landmark.
Yeah.
The new mic down there in the Landmark. I think you were there first week as well. Yeah, you were there with me.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think about tapping into an area like that? I mean, it's a little farther away than it's farther south than Cody's mic. So Cody again, the Flying W mic up in was that Medford? Medford, Flying W every Thursday night. But this mic is every other Monday at the Landmark Americana, first and third Monday.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think about tapping into like a college town? Because that's right where it is, smack dab in the middle of Rowan University.
It will be interesting to see because they admittedly didn't promote it to the Rowan community, the first mic. So it was just us comics there. It'll be interesting to see if they can sell it to that community and what would come of that. That'd be fun if we could pack the room. It's a big room.
It is a very big room.
But I think it was smart to do it every other week. I think it'll make it more of an event. So it's not like a chore trying to get there every week. And I think they'll get more support from us comics that way.
Yeah.
But there was a good turnout of comics. I thought it was a fun night.
It was a good night. I mean, obviously, I to be fair, it was, and we talked about this leading up to it. I think I talked with Brittany because we had just interviewed right before it happened, right before that happened, but it was the day after the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
If it was any other day,
I think they would have got more people. Yeah.
I mean, we would have had more people.
People were worn out.
People were just partying all that night. I mean, there's no way. I mean, with the Eagles, I mean, we're in South Jersey here for anybody else who's watching it abroad or whatever. But we're right here in South Jersey, stone's throw from Philadelphia. So everybody was watching that. Everybody was partying. I mean, most of our friends were out until 2 a.m.
They were.
Yeah, they definitely were.
Cody
Everybody
was,
running that
least,
mic.
Yeah.
Everybody running that mic was out partying until at least 2 or 3 in the morning. I'm sure half of them were on street posts. They didn't care how greased they were. They were probably up on street poles and everything like that. So,
Yep.
but they had, but it was a great turnout of people that got out there to see that mic. So, I'm glad you guys came out and supported it. I'm glad all of you guys. We had a lot of the high note regulars actually. So
Yeah, definitely.
but it's fun. So I wish you guys the best. I've had all 4 of you on, and I really do. I wish you guys all the best. So I'm sure I'll have you on here again. I hope so. But yeah, more mics for us to see. So I hope it does draw a crowd. I want to see how the college crowd pulls.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Because you can tap into new talent or theater people and things.
What will
like
be
that.
interesting is the second Monday is President's Day, so we'll see if that helps or hurts them.
Oh, so their next one is on President's Day?
Yeah.
Well, that's not a big. It's not like people go home for President's Day. I don't think.
It's still a day off from school. I don't know. It'll be interesting.
Yeah, well, it could be even more reason for them to come out and party.
True.
Because they ain't going to school, so.
True.
So there you go. All you people down there at Rowan watching this, get
Yeah.
out to the mic. I'm sure there's lots of you watching. I can tell. I can tell by my hits. So, but I am a little bit of a gamer geek, so I do ask this to every person who comes onto my podcast. What is your favorite video game of all time? Be it arcade or console or anything. That one game that you can't pass up playing if you got the chance. And if it's a series, knock it down to the one.
I am not a gamer geek.
You're not a gamer at all.
No, I used to play very little with my friends back in high school, and back then I would say my favorite game was probably Grand Theft Auto,
That's a good
San
choice.
Andreas. I like to steal cars and then just listen to the radio because they had the awesomest soundtrack ever. And then my friends would get bored and mad at me for just driving around.
Because you weren't causing any havoc. You were just cruising around town. That's it.
I would cause some havoc, but it was more jamming out to the music for the most part.
It's not. It's it shows. It shows that you were grounded. You knew what you wanted.
Yeah.
Most people, as soon as you start that game, it's just like, all right, how many people can I murder? Or
I mean, don't get me wrong, that was fun, but the soundtrack was the draw. And I guess I would like driving games more than anything else. Not a big sports guy. Would get pretty bored when they were playing Madden and any NBA game and stuff. But
yeah. No, I mean, Grand Theft Auto is a great game. It's still got a hell of a following.
Yeah.
GTA 5 is still played. That game came out years ago. And they're still playing it online. So
yeah,
it's that great of a game. So it's a great franchise. I think my first entry to that series was Grand Theft Auto 2.
Okay.
Which was an old. Oh my God, I'm dating myself so bad on this. It was an old top down.
Mm-hmm.
So you were you were looking down at the street.
Yeah.
And you were just you could see a little dude walking around, and you would jack a car and you'd drive around like a maniac. And it was.
Vice City was fun too. San Andreas and Vice City.
Yeah, they were all the ones that were the first like third person game running around the city. It was like, holy cow.
Yeah, that was cool.
It was a lot of fun. Those games are always great.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, no, it's I even for people who aren't hardcore gamers, everybody's got one that they love. Whether it's like an old arcade game or something.
Yeah, exactly.
There's something that brings back memories.
I was like, I've always been a comedy nerd, and I thought, oh, now I'm doing stand-up. I'll finally have other comedy nerd friends. No, everybody's a gamer nerd and a wrestling nerd. And I'm like, no, I don't know what you're talking about. Can we talk about David Letterman?
I was honestly surprised about that when I went to High Note. I didn't think there would be that many gamers, and I hear them.
It's like all of them.
They really are. I mean, I'm not hardcore by any stretch. Don't let the arcade cabinet over there fool you. I really don't play a lot of the newer stuff, and I don't get too into it all. But when we go there, it's like there's a lot of people talking games at High Note. I'm like, wow, I was surprised.
Like one time for Crapulent, I booked Fred Stoller. He was a Seinfeld writer, and he had a small bit part in Dumb and Dumber. Everybody Loves Raymond. And I was so excited. I got him, and I was like, Ramon, I got Fred Stoller. Are you going to come do the interview with us? He's like, you know what? I don't like comedy that much. I was like, you hurt my heart, Ramon.
You didn't want to do the interview for that?
No, he didn't do much of the interviews with the Crapulent. But he's a great part of the show. We love Ramon. But it was just funny because that's not his world really. But it was great.
Which, yeah, I mean, I guess And that's like we were saying earlier, where the different parts of comedy can be.
Mhm.
I mean, I know Ramon went from doing stand-up to the songs. And so everybody seems to have that different way that they stay in comedy.
I don't know if he ever did traditional stand-up, because before the songs, he had that character, Jack Trilby, was like a private eye, like film noir detective.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and I've never seen Jack Trilby. Everybody
yeah,
talks
yeah.
about it, and I've
He's
never
great.
been privileged enough to see it. I'm going to, one of these days, now that I'm like officially a part of High Note, remember that now, folks. Now that I'm a part of High Note, I'm going to make everybody drag out those old characters that I haven't seen because I've missed out on all this stuff.
Yeah.
There's Noah's Bad Open Mic Brad.
I think I've seen that once.
Yeah, I've missed that. Apparently, Jack Trilby I've missed out on.
Mm-hmm.
Vegas used to do some wacky characters. Well, now he's back to doing the recaps, I guess.
Yeah, that's
the
great.
Vegas recap, which is fantastic. And I'm
Mhm.
like, where has this been for the last 12 months I've been coming to this place? So
Those are great.
we're gonna have to start dragging out some of the old stuff because you guys have some great characters and some funny stuff. But
Yeah, it's hilarious.
But like I said, those are the different ways that people go.
Mhm.
You look at Jeffrey Michael; he was doing stand up, and then he's tried to do magic, but then he's like, oh, I'll do the ventriloquism,
Mm-hmm.
and now it kind of works with his stand up, and it's neat to see where everybody takes it, and where I guess, like we said, I guess that's where it can go, where you end up in a show, or you end up doing something, because it's not just stand up on stage. It just,
Mhm.
I guess it can take you different places, and you find what you like. So
Yeah.
it does make sense. So I'm trying to learn. I haven't been in the business.
Will
for
you go
years.
back up? You ever do it again?
I might. I need material, and that's been the problem. I haven't had enough material. I don't want to just go up there for 2.5 minutes. I at least want to do a good chunk of time. That's how long my first one was. I think it was about 3:15, 3:20,
Mm-hmm.
and I just kind of ran out of shit. I wasn't eating it, but
Just keep doing that and hone that and grow from there.
I can't even remember half of the stuff I
No?
did. It was. I mean, I know most of it. I have it written down. I did write it down. I know most of the stuff, but I just, it needed to be punched up, and I
like to work on stage.
Yeah.
I rarely put pen to paper. Like my new Shakira bit just grew on stage. Like I never wrote that.
It just started, and that's a great bit. And
Yeah.
It's awesome to see how that's come along.
Does well in like real rooms, which is always like baffling. It's always crazy when you're doing open mics and it's your friends and you're doing it for the same people over and over again, and then you go to a real room and it like kills, and you're like, oh shit, that's actually a good joke. I forgot.
Well, yeah, and it is. It's hard because it's like, yeah, I've heard certain comics that even if you work on the bit, it might still be funny and it changes it up a little bit. But yeah, I've heard the joke. I know the punchline.
Exactly.
So it's got to be hard to go. So I guess that's why so many comics hit different mics, because you can work on that joke here, and then okay, now I'm going to take it to another mic and see how it does. And now, oh, okay, I can work on it a little bit better and take it to another mic, and yeah, okay, that makes sense. Which is probably why it's hard to stay at one mic and know if you're getting better.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough. It's not easy, folks. If you've never done it, I still recommend doing it.
Yeah.
Well, I do. I recommend doing it. It's once you're over the hump and you're up there, I think it's not as bad. You know, once I was up there, I didn't lock up. I didn't have any problems, but I just got through it. I didn't kill. Fine. I didn't expect to.
Yeah.
But I also didn't freeze up.
Which
is what I was really scared of. I mean, I'm sure you've seen that happen with guys that go up their first time.
Yeah.
The anxiety and just the panic. So what's the worst comic you've ever seen go up on? Like, what was not, you don't have to name them, but like, what was the worst incident that you've seen happen to somebody who went up for a first time?
Ooh. I don't know. That's a good question. Can you think of anybody?
I mean, I saw somebody over at Bobby Ray's a long time ago. I don't. Again, I'm just not going to name names to protect the innocent, but I think you were actually there this night. Actually, I think I was there with you and your wife, and we were there at Bobby Ray's, and this guy went up, and I don't know what the hell he had on him. Some dead piece of roadkill.
Oh, that guy.
He had some piece of dead roadkill on him, and he's doing this bit.
I forgot about him.
And I almost got my wife up on stage to be like, is this guy having a stroke or a heart attack? Like, he was like I really thought he was having some kind of problem. It was that bad,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what I didn't want to happen. I mean, that was long after I went on stage, but that's the kind of thing I was like, oh my god, this guy is really rocked from this.
Yeah,
So.
I've seen him a few times since then. He he went to the W a lot this summer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was an interesting guy.
Nothing against him.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
Again, it's not easy. It's really not. And but if that was, I mean, he's gotten past that a little bit better.
No, I haven't seen him since this summer, and he didn't change.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I figured that must have been one of his first couple times up when we saw him that night.
It was his first time doing stand-up, but he was apparently a magician and had performance experience. So.
Oh, wow.
I don't know how much of that was an act, that whole nervous thing, because he was like cutting things with scissors and stuff. So I don't know if he was trying to be funny or if he was really that shaky. I don't know.
It was hard to tell. I mean, if you're doing magic tricks, like I really thought the guy was going to lose a finger that night. Now that you mentioned the rope cutting trick, I was like, this guy's going to get himself hurt.
Yeah, right.
So, yeah, man,
you see some interesting people.
There's been a lot. Yeah, there's been a lot, and it's some guys that we see. They hear the laughter in their head. That's what.
Yeah.
We've had this. I know we've had this discussion. They hear laughter that's not there.
Yeah.
And they laugh along with it, and they just.
I envy the people who could go up there and do 5 minutes and just eat shit and bomb, and it doesn't seem to faze them. I just fester, and if I'm not doing well, I don't want to stay up there.
Well, yeah, I guess it's hard to just stay up there either way. But it's not like you paid for it either. It's not like you were like, I paid $50 for this.
Exactly.
And so I guess that's why they can just let it go. It happened. Big deal.
What I try to do now, just to get comfortable when not doing well, is I've been playing with silences. Like, I'll just stand on stage and not say anything. And I find that fun, actually.
You did a bit a couple months ago, I guess, that you said was like your first time on stage, I think you were saying, and you pretty much didn't say a word for I think the first 2 minutes and change of your set.
Yeah.
So what was that? Pretty much what your first couple times out was like. You everybody was dying because they could see all the comic tropes, I guess, that a comic would do when he's getting a little worked up, and it was really pretty funny.
Did I do that for real when I first started? No. The first time I ever did stand-up, I did like 6.5 minutes. Like, wow. Yeah. But I got through my set.
Nice.
Yeah. Never had a real, genuine moment like that before. Just did it to mess around.
That's a good thing.
Yeah,
I don't think you want to melt down like that. But I mean, we loved the silence thing. It was funny.
Pacing and sighing into the mic, and I sat down and buried my head in my hands for a minute.
And see, that's
some people didn't know if I was joking or not. They thought something was wrong with me.
Well, it seemed like the guys who have been in the game longer, were laughing.
Yeah,
because it was a comic sort of thing.
Yeah,
and it was like the comics are getting it, but everybody else is going,
huh?
Like I don't understand what he's doing, but everybody else is losing their mind.
Yeah.
And I think Patton Oswalt did a sketch. He was talking about this awful magician that he saw. Have you ever seen this bit?
No.
He talks about a magician that he saw, and he had just gone up and he opened for the magician. This was like his first time when he's going up.
Yeah.
And the magician was like supposed to get paid $20 or something like that. And he the guy knocked him down. He's like, I'm only giving you 15 or something like that. And the magician went up there and just did Oswald opened for him. Then the guy did his thing, but it was the angriest magic he said you'd ever seen. So he would be like, look, it's a thing. Here's another thing. Boom. And then he tossed the thing off to the side, and everybody else is going, huh? And Oswald's in the back of the room laughing his ass off.
Yeah.
So it's like a comic sees that sort of stuff that everybody else just goes and just stares like, what the hell's going on? But comics laugh their asses off.
Exactly.
And you see that stuff develop in High Note, which is great because certain guys pick up on these little things.
Yeah.
And I do love seeing that when that stuff happens at High Note once in a while. A certain comic will just snap.
Yeah.
In the middle of the room, you'll hear one comic just laughing off to the side of the room, and he can't keep it together because he just loses his mind because of a joke, which is
so
great.
fun.
So, before this whole thing started, though, I gave you a piece of paper
Yeah.
with 11 circles on it, which you hadn't seen this before because you hadn't seen any of the episodes before, at least this deep in. So what we have here is, yeah, see, nice. That's high tech right there. See, so see, this is how I get out of doing post production bullshit.
Wow, that's sweet. I love it.
It's lazy, is what it is.
Nah.
So some of the stuff you drew here, I'm definitely seeing some talk shows. So if we go from the top left across, we got the question mark.
Yeah.
Looks like you were trying to fill a couple at the end there.
I was just trying to think of things that I actually draw when I'm bored and I'm doodling. Like, I guess you wanted to go across, but I like to do
really
cursive.
Matter.
I like to write curse words in cursive.
Yeah, it makes them classier.
Yeah.
I guess in a nice calligraphy, looks so much better. If you got nice penmanship.
Mm-hmm.
There might be a couple of swear words on the Constitution, but nobody cares because it's written really pretty. I probably couldn't even write fucking cursive. I don't think I remember how. So yeah, we got the Conan and Letterman, which are pretty good caricatures, by the way. I'll make sure these are on the Facebook so you guys can see them all bigger. I'll put them on the Facebook page.
Nice.
So it's a nice big image after, as opposed to, I know it's a little small on here, but even smaller. I think people will be able to tell what these are.
I really didn't do it on purpose, but it's funny that we hit on some of these topics. Like there's the Wu-Tang W.
Yeah, well, I try to talk about subjects that are close to people, and I'm glad it's kind of come to this, but the Homer Simpson in the middle. So I guess you were a big Simpsons fan growing up?
I was
or still is, or
like 90s Simpsons.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah,
that's fair. That's the good stuff back in the day. I was a fan back then.
That was my favorite.
Didn't see the new Simpsons movie then, I take it? Or?
Oh, I saw the Simpsons movie.
Okay.
Even that is 11 years old already.
I know. God.
Yeah.
It's making me feel old as hell. So you did the old high school.
Yeah.
The old high school
the
notebook S.
Yeah.
So for anybody who doesn't know about that one, look that one up. Look up the S, the 6 lines, and yeah, everybody remembers that S. So if you didn't draw that on your notebook, you didn't live in the 90s.
Exactly. Am I the first one to do the S?
I believe you're the first one to do the S, which is cool because
that's fascinating.
Well, I am a little surprised actually. I would think that would come up if someone doodled it, but you know, we've had some 90s kids, some 80s kids, so I might be wrong. There may be another one, but I'll probably put a note about that if necessary because I may have forgotten. But that is a classic. Now, who's the dude who was right?
That's supposed to be me.
Oh, okay. Well, self-portrait. I thought I saw an earring, so I wasn't quite sure.
That's me with longer hair.
Oh, okay. Did you have longer hair at one point, or?
Normally, I throw it out. Not right now. I'm pretty short hair right now.
Real short.
It gets pretty thick pretty fast.
Yeah, I try to keep this short.
This almost looks Seinfeld-esque, this one.
I was kind of thinking about it, actually.
The 90s mullet.
We needed a little more marker to really mullet
Yeah,
party
yeah.
in the back on there. I might have. And what about the very terrifying clown? That's
just a bad Krusty.
Just
another Simpsons.
It's freaking me out. Honestly, I'm okay with clowns. I'm not like totally spooked by clowns, but
yeah.
This one's staring into my soul. So I don't know how much longer I want to look at this guy before before we go back into that. So I'm gonna close that for our viewers before they click out there. But so I ask all of my viewers, as a retrospective, if you looked back at your life, if it ended today, and again, it's not meant to be morbid, but if you look back at the life you've led,
think about that every day at work.
Because you're wondering whether it's about time to go on a shooting rampage, or
no, I would never inflict harm on anyone else, just myself.
Okay, well, before this day actually happens, I guess I should ask the question. I mean, how would you feel about the life you've led, the lives you've touched, outside of apparently your 9 to 5? Because I think me and everybody
5 to 1,
5 to even worse. Okay, well,
yeah,
screw that noise. But outside of that, I mean, how would you feel about the lives you've touched and friends you've made and things like that?
I love my wife, and I love my kids, and I love comedy. So, if I were to die tomorrow, I would be upset that I couldn't have done more with comedy yet.
So you've wanted to be a little farther along at this point, even?
Yeah, that would be cool.
Okay. That's fair.
family and full-time jobs is hard to.
Yeah.
That's why you do a talk show in your shed. Make the comedy come to you.
That's it. Just tell people come over and do comedy.
Yeah,
with me.
exactly.
So then, if you could go back to one point or one time in your life, like a time period in your life, is there somewhere you would want to go?
It's hard with kids to say that you want to go back and do something different because then you wouldn't have the kids. But like, I went to school at Rutgers for one semester in New Brunswick, and every weekend I came home because the majority of my friends didn't go away for college, and I just wanted to be with them and party with them. And I should have instead of getting on the train and going south to Cherry Hill, I should have been going north to New York and starting stand up earlier. Is my regret.
You even had to drive for it back then?
What's that?
You even had to drive to do more comedy back then?
I hadn't done it at that point, but I knew in the back of my head that's what I always wanted to do. I've been like a comedy junkie since I was like 5 years old when my dad took me to see The Mask in the movie theater.
God, wait, you were 5? Oh, man, now I'm feeling old. Come on. That movie's that old? Jesus.
94.
Oh, God, man. Yeah, that movie is that old. Holy cow.
Nah. So...
yeah, man. Well,
I didn't know when I was in New Brunswick. I didn't know the Stress Factory existed, and that's right in New Brunswick, and that's a pretty cool club. And it's like I could have got started a lot earlier. And then when I did start dipping my toe into comedy, I did like sketch writing and improv first. I did classes at Second City and UCB before I ever did stand up.
But nothing through Rutgers.
No, not through Rutgers.
What were you majoring in Rutgers?
In New Brunswick, I majored in communications, but when I moved down to Camden to be with my friends again, I switched to film.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can see it. It correlates a little bit, though. Like
I was trying to pick a major that was close enough.
Well, I think those would allow you into the field in some way, shape, or form. But
I messed up. Now I worked at a grocery store for damn near a decade.
And if you come to High Note, you'll find out all about it.
You'll hear about it.
I promise you that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's you can. I'm seeing like how you're, when you went to school, you still had that.
Yeah.
That want to be around the entertainment industry in some way, shape, or form.
Exactly.
It's not everybody who tries to go off to college are like, well, excuse me, I'll go off and I'll do a thing, I'll get business or whatever, and then there's just that's comedy. Comedy's out here. It's totally separate, but it seemed like you still had that drive to keep it.
Yeah, which was probably a mistake. But yeah, that was my thought process.
Well, that's not necessarily. I mean, there's a lot in the field. I mean, everything, and you've gotten enough knowledge from that to be able to do your show.
Yeah.
I mean, you've learned enough from film and stuff like that, and everything that I do to do this. My extremely low production value. I mean, but you've got, you understand what needs to go into a show, as opposed to someone like me who's never gone.
It was that Rutgers film program. There's 5 of us, and it was like a potpourri of classes, and it was mixed in with the art department. So I was taking like ceramics, and there was like one After Effects class where I was learning like post production and had to take a screenwriting class and an acting class. So I'm like what is it, jack of all trades, master of none.
Yeah.
I have a little bit of knowledge for all these things, but I don't know if I could say I'm particularly great at any of it.
I would have thought a major, that major.
There was no focus. Yeah, there was no focus.
Wow, that's weird.
Yeah.
I guess.
But I'm wearing this.
Yeah, he's proud enough to wear this on there, folks. So he's.
I usually wear this to work. This gets wet and smells like kale and celery.
I was gonna say you wear it because you don't give a shit what happens to it, but you just don't care how it smells at this point. I guess some people become hoodie nose deaf. At a certain point in time, the hoodie it's just.
I hope it doesn't smell so bad.
No, it's not too bad. No, we're good. That is the problem with this couch. So if we're gonna get into a heated politics discussion, you're right here. So you're real close. So it has to be So hopefully anybody who watches it that wants to come on the show has to realize that we're here. So please take a shower for Christ's sake. Help me out here. So at the end of all these, I have an ink blot for all of my guests to view, which you haven't gotten to see. So
Okay.
none of my guests get to see it, but I do make each of these ink blots for each guest. It's acrylic on paper that I make for each guest, and then give the audience a chance to see this. So tell us what you might see in this particular ink blot. Again, they're not Rorschach tests, so they're not like, oh, you should see this, or you're no. So
I see like some kind of trying to think of the monkey I'm thinking of, like the monkey in Lion King.
Oh, Rafiki?
Yeah, like that kind of monkey. What is that?
A mandrill? I think
Maybe.
it's called. With that, it's got the weird. Yeah.
But there's his nose.
Yeah. Okay.
There's his mouth.
Yeah, I can totally see Rafiki.
There's his
in that.
eyes. Yeah, the big bushy hair off to the side.
Yeah, I see.
That's what I'm getting.
Yeah, that's what it seems to be. Damn, now I can't not see it. The eyes and the nose. Definitely give it away. Yeah, wow.
There's almost nostrils in there. You made this?
Yeah, it's the thick paint that we use. I don't have any actual ink. I call it an ink blot, but if I call it acrylic paint blot, it doesn't roll real well. So. But yeah,
that's what I got.
No, I had trouble after I made this one. I didn't really see anything. I had a lot of them. I've seen stuff, and I'm like, oh, I could see something in there. But that one I was having trouble with. But now I definitely see that the monkey face.
So, what does that mean?
It means that you like the movie Lion King.
Is that it?
It wasn't on here, but I mean, it means you might like the Lion King. But
right after The Simpsons, this is the Lion King.
A Disney movie fan?
When I was little, yeah. I still like watching with my kids.
Well, yeah, when you have kids, I guess you're going to be a Disney movie fan one way or another. You don't have a choice. So, any good ones that have come out that you've actually enjoyed? I know I've been out of the Disney movie game for a while, so.
Trying to think recently. We didn't get to go to a lot this year. Lego Batman, which is not Disney. There wasn't a lot of kids' movies this year. My son's getting into the Marvel stuff, which was never my cup of tea when I was a kid either. Everyone's gamers and superheroes.
It's all the Marvel superhero movies. Yeah, I know.
I don't get it.
Well, I guess I'm glad you didn't take him to Sausage Party, not knowing.
Yeah, right.
It's a cartoon.
I know better.
I told my parents to go to that, and they had a blast.
Yeah.
They sat through that movie, and they laughed their asses off.
Nice.
So if you haven't seen that movie, folks, get the DVD. It's hilarious. You have seen it?
Yeah.
Oh,
it's good.
It is good. There's a lot of great actors.
I love Rogan. Yeah.
Yeah. He is fun. I need to see more of his movies. I'm a little upset that I haven't.
Yeah.
I guess it was in a time where most of his movies came out after I moved out. I used to live at home when I lived at home. My dad worked for Comcast.
Oh, okay.
We had every movie channel.
Yeah.
So I didn't go to the theaters. I just stay home. Movies would come out on HBO, and I just watch. I would see movies when they would come out. But now there's that gap from, when I moved out and everything. Now it's like I don't get out and see movies all the time because, that costs money.
Exactly.
I don't have that. Because I live in a house, I'm broke.
Yeah, it's tough.
That's what mortgages do to you, folks. They're not as fun as you think. So I wanted to thank you for coming on my podcast. It is a pleasure to have you on. No, thank you, man. It's good having some great people on here and getting to plug their stuff and seeing what's out there. So again, the Andrew Fox Show is on AndrewFox.com, on Roku, and on Apple TV. I got it right this time. I kept sticking
the
on
WhoMag multimedia app.
There you go. So get it for iPhone and Android.
And
Okay, so for either one, get it on there. I'm going to make sure I post some links below so that you guys can get to everything pretty easy for him. I'll post a link to the Crapulent down below as well, so you guys can check out.
Back, baby.
Exactly. So I'm hoping you guys will have plenty of new episodes by the time this rolls out in March.
We better, yeah.
Exactly. So that'd be great. I'm looking forward to seeing them. I've seen a couple, but I want to see some new stuff coming out. Now that I know you guys, it's going to be.
We did one yesterday, so we're going to get back on every Sunday. So.
There you go. So I'm going to be looking forward to it. You guys should check them out too. So every Monday, or when do you release?
We would drop Monday morning. Usually, yep.
Okay, so every Monday we're going to check out the Crapulent. We're going to put out some new episodes for you guys, and stay tuned. And the Andrew Fox Show is several episodes deep by now. By now, the time this is airing.
It's probably, what do you say, March 11th?
Yeah, we're going to be in the middle of March, so it's probably going to be about another 4 episodes in. So
yeah.
So got at least 6 episodes to watch, folks. So get out there, check them out. check out the show. Andrew's funny. He's great to come watch at High Note too. A lot of the guys he's had on there, I've seen a lot of your previews. So a lot of funny guests that you've had on there. You've hauled in some great comedians for that show.
Yeah.
I'm a little jealous because I'd like some of those guys on this show, and you pulled in some great people to be on that talk show.
It's been fun, man. Yeah.
So keep that shed going, man. Keep
We're
the shed rolling,
We're
man.
filming tomorrow.
That's it.
Yeah.
Nice. Who do you have on tomorrow? Can you reveal?
Yeah, Dan Getz.
Nice.
Yep. And next week we got Eric Terrell.
Oh, Eric is great.
And on Saturday I'm doing Chanel Ali, which I'm very excited about.
Nice. So you got a good guest list coming up.
I've known her for like 4 years, and I think she's about to go for Just for Laughs in Montreal. So it's like I'm getting her right before I can never have her again, because
when she gets big,
she's about to blow up.
That's gonna be
so
awesome.
I'm glad I got her on the show.
Awesome. So check it out, folks. He's great. You and James is James in pretty much every episode.
James is my sidekick. He's my Andy Richter. So yeah, James is in every episode.
So check out James. He's the redheaded dude who's hanging around in these episodes as well.
Yep.
So it's worth the laughs, guys. Check them out. Come check out High Note. Check out Crapulent, everything. So stay tuned to this podcast. Make sure you guys like and subscribe below, down where the buttons are over there. It's over that way somewhere. Yep, there it is, over there. So check those buttons out. Subscribe. It helps make me bring content to you guys because I know you're watching and I know you're liking it. And as always, don't forget your toilet poncho, folks. Thanks.